Hello, guys, welcome to Psyched Minds. If you have not subscribed yet to the channel, do subscribe, like, and share if you like the content. We are reading In Therapy by Susie Orbach. Case of Charles, page number 69. Charles is in his 50s. He's been coming for 5 months. He's the co owner of an advertising agency currently involved in merger talks with a new media company that make him uneasy. He is blonde and blue eyed, extremely good looking, and dressed in a bespoke suit with a light grey linen V neck t shirt. His casual elegance is at odds with storms inside of him. Charles. Susie. Hi, it's Charles. Susie. Come on in. Charles. Okay. Susie. Hi, Charles. Charles. Hi, how are you? Can I take my jacket off? It's a hot day. Susie. Please. Charles. Well, I know you are going to ask me if anything has happened since last week, and yeah, something has really, the merger with the Susie. The agency. Charles. The ad agency, yeah. Well, I am being pressured from all sides, and what I didn't tell you was that it sounds pathetic. I know, is that I used to be a very heavy smoker. I have not smoked at all for 10 years exactly. My father in law died of lung cancer really slowly and horribly 10 years ago. Carolyn and I, because of the children and because of my health and because of her, she begged me to give up. But I gave up, which was hard, but I did it. I did hypnotherapy eventually, and it took a few months, but I'd give it up. And I promised Carolyn, I promised her that we would be a non smoking family. And about a month ago, I was so frustrated at these young whiz kids that are trying to squeeze us. We are an old fashioned agency that has integrity. Susie. Charles. That's what we stand for. Integrity. The three of us were all at school together. We set it up. Our byline is that you can't put a price on integrity. And now, for heaven's sake, we are being pushed into an area that in my late 50s I don't want to go. Susie. Charles. And I started smoking. I don't know why. Not heavily at first. It was like these three boys who came in, so health conscious and fit and young, and they are taking us over, and I just wanted to go. Screw you. And it's like a sort of. So I just smoked a little couple in a day outside the office, and I actually held up a meeting because I said, I'm sorry, I'm going outside for a cigarette, which they were revolted by. I am intrigued by the conjunction of the media company, health conscious men who are surprised by Charles' smoking behavior, his disdain for them, and his wish to show them his contempt for them. What's the gap he can't bridge here? Charles. Anyway, it's not something I'm particularly proud of. Then I started smoking more, and is it today? Friday, Monday, Tuesday this week. I was in a pub in Richmond with my tennis partner. He went out for a cigarette, so I went into the garden, and I wasn't going to have one. Then I had one. And Will, my oldest, walked into the garden. He didn't look at me. He saw me, but then he looked away, then left. He didn't speak. And we have kind of been avoiding each other as I caught him smoking about 8 months ago, I suppose, and we came down really heavy. The room chilled as Charles spoke of Will looking away. Susie. Charles. Christmas holidays, and he wasn't allowed out over New Year. He had his money stopped for a month until January. From before Christmas, he didn't go out. We grounded him, and I made him read stuff about lung cancer. He didn't really even know his grandfather, but he knew he had died horribly. Roll forward to last week, and he sees me. I don't know whether he is going to tell Carolyn. Susie. Is that the issue, or is it rather your disappointment with yourself? Charles. That's it. It's an issue with Carolyn because we were not really speaking at the moment. We are not getting on, but we live very different lives. She's in Norfolk for 4 days a week. I get up at weekends and they are jam packed, dinner parties and sailing and tennis. We don't really talk. I know that she would be really hurt, and Susie. It really surprises me that in the time we have been seeing each other, you haven't told me that she is away for 4 days a week. Charles. I'm not very proud of it. Susie. Uh huh. Charles. We are kind of. Susie. I suppose that's why you could manage to smoke if she's not spelling you. This is kind of clunky on my part. I'm grappling with several things. His breaking of his promise to himself and Carolyn not to smoke, the fact of their quasi separate lives, his dismay about what's happening with his business, and his paralysis in relation to his son. Charles. Exactly. She doesn't, so I don't smoke at weekends. She goes up on a Thursday and she comes back on a Monday. I go up on a Friday and come back on Sunday night. So if I want to smoke, I can. I know I can stop again because I did, but I just don't want to stop. Susie. Well, what is in it for you? Charles. Well, Susie. Because there is something significant. It is not nothing. Charles. No, well, I think it's because it's who I used to be, I suppose. It is linked with the fact that I feel pushed by all sides. Yes, I earn a good salary. If there is a merger, I will still earn a good salary. I have a lot of outgoings. Two kids at Marburg is not cheap, as you know, and two houses and holidays all over. It's like sort of private time for me. Does that make any sense? Susie. Uh huh. Charles. And I've spent a lot of my life disappointing my father, who has no interest in me. I went to Marlborough as well. He went to Marlborough, but he went into a profession. He is in accounting. Advertising is in the late 80s was not a job to him. And yeah, I have done okay, but even now he doesn't acknowledge it. He is great at took Carolyn to the kids, Will and well, he sent Tom, the younger one, he sent him to camp in America last summer. He never did that for me. Several thousand pounds he can afford it. He's got lots of money. He was an accountant, for God's sake. But he just said at Christmas, he just said, "What do you want?" Tom and said, "I want to go to Camp America." So he said, "Fine, I'll pay for it." He never did anything. He never even asked me what I wanted for Christmas. Pause, while Charles feel the hurt and anger. Susie. Can you see his giving to Tom as a way of giving to you? Charles. No. Susie. Does it feel like an undercut of you? Charles. Hmm. Susie. Yes, so we go back to the smoking for a second. Charles. Yeah. Susie. If it is a way of giving to yourself or being with yourself, it's pretty thin, isn't it? I mean, what is it? 8 minutes a cigarette? Charles. Not even that. Susie. How many minutes and it's furtive? Charles. 2 minutes. I mean, yes, of course, I understand there's a nicotine addiction, but that's when you are giving up. That's the hard thing to crack. But yes, I suppose it is thin. Susie. What is that image of you outside the building smoking? Charles. I don't know. It is quite sordid, I suppose. Susie. Is it? Charles. Well, I suppose it is. But I mean, is what people say. It is what people say. The best people always congregate in the smoking areas. There is a sort of complicity that happens. Susie. With whom? Charles. With the other smokers outside. The people that you don't know. Everybody knows that you are not meant to be doing it, and it's not that I'm asking to join up a club. But I don't feel cherished at home. I don't feel cherished at work. I've just really fucked up with Will, and he's basically been out the last couple of days because he obviously doesn't want to confront it with me. I mean, what sort of example is that? Yeah, I know it's bad. Susie. Well, it's not so terrible if you are taking the time to think about how you are going to talk with him about it. You have found it hard to say that Carolyn was away 4 days a week, and you don't talk with her much, and you are not actually talking properly with your partners. So now the need to talk is urgent. Charles. Susie. So this is an opportunity for you to think about the kind of dad you would like to be in a relationship, to acknowledging this difficulty with what Will saw. It's not the end of the road, it is the beginning of something new and possible. Charles. Oh, right, you see, I didn't hate my dad. I didn't really feel much about him. I don't feel like I have a role model in a way to, I look at, other parents, and yeah, we have had great holidays. I don't play football. I used to take them to matches and things, but it's not my passion. We play tennis a bit, but I've never been the enviable dad you see in the park, who is the rough and tumble dad that the kids all absolutely follow, like the Pied Piper. I spent most of my life, I think, wanting my dad to notice me. Susie. Uh huh. Charles. My mom died, so we went away. I went to prep school. Susie. You know, Charles, I know this. Charles. Sorry. Susie. No, I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm saying it's as though there is some piece I don't know about this, and I don't know what it is. And now I wonder whether it's entwined with the humiliation of being taken over by these three whippersnappers, or whether it's the feeling shamed in front of your son. And I think the reason I stopped you and I realized it wasn't the easiest thing to hear is that I think there is an unspoken story of abandonment and loneliness and loss which prevents you feeling you can be present in the present. There's an unfortunate absent presence or present absence that you have reproduced, whether it's with your colleagues or with your son or laterally with Carolyn, and yet it goes against the way that you have had a family culture, which has really been quite strong. You and Carolyn have been quite together, and what, Charles? She's been amazing. I mean, she was very young when we first got together, and she's, what is she now? 45, 7? She has been strong and she's guided. She just let me get on with developing the business, and I've never wanted for anything, but I do feel lonely. I feel quite frightened. Susie. Uh huh. Now I'm thinking that Carolyn has been doing considerably more of the running of the family relationship than I had realized. Charles relies on her for this, and it has left him unskilled in how to manage conflicts at work or at home, or his feelings about his own father. Several teams are running into each other. Charles. You know, I feel much nearer 60 than 50, and it feels like there is a club that I used to be part of, and I'm kind of not. Susie. Has age come as an explanation for what is missing? So then you go and join the bad boys club outside the building. Both laughs. And then get in trouble with your son? Charles, the unhygienic washing your shirts in the middle of the night because your wife is coming home the next morning? I don't know, yup. I do feel I can look at myself from the outside. I could read an article about myself as an advertising executive, as I could read all that. I could appreciate people's jealousy or amazement or whatever. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that at all. I don't. I've got friends, not real friends. I've got something that I have created. I don't feel ready to let go of Buchanan's. And yes, there are three of us, but my name is above the door of the agency, and I don't want it to go. I don't want it to. What is it going to become? Raw, and Bushanan? No, just Raw it will become. But with Hoxton Tendies, I mean, they'll be good. They'll do a good job. They will probably make more money, but I don't feel ready to let go of that. What do you, I mean, do you just accept that your time moves on? I don't. Susie, the piece that is hard for me to get a hold of is how you feel, or how it has happened that the three of you have become a two and a one. Charles, Susie, I haven't quite understood whether you have pulled yourself out of the three partners so that the three of you aren't together, or whether they have been seduced, or were they really sound reason to merge, and because I don't know, and neither do you quite the accomplish do you quite. The accomplishment of what you have created feels like it is just draining away from you rather than being. Charles, moving to the next stage. Susie, yeah, being appreciated. The reason you are being brought or merging is because you have got something. Charles, well, we brought in a real whiz kid called Jake, he's probably about 38, and it is through him that we have met this other company, Roar, and he's brilliant. I think he's slightly on some sort of Asperger scale, but he's a genius. Susie, uh-huh. Charles, I don't particularly like him. Susie, uh-huh. Charles, I wouldn't want to go out to dinner with him, but he's aggressive, and somehow he has managed to get one of the partners to look at a bigger picture, and it just has all galloped. Susie, yeah, but is your fear of change the thing that has put you on the outside of this rather than. Charles, yeah. Susie, allowed you to think, wait, would this be interesting? Do I have things to learn? Do I have things to offer? Charles, do you know, I hadn't thought of that. Susie, uh huh. Charles, I've just thought, fuck you, really, all of you. Susie, something being taken away from you. Charles, yeah, it's like, a favorite toy. Susie, a big toy. Charles, really big toy. I mean, Susie, your life. Charles, 25 years of my life is one business and training before that. And I don't think anybody really appreciates how big it is to me. I don't think Carolyn does. Of course, she knows what's going on, but she's not really interested. All she's interested in, Susie. Well, unless you make it interesting and tell her, it is going to be hard for her to know. Unless you show her what it means to you. Not the pounds, shillings, and pence, but the Charles. I mean, the alternative is that I just take a back seat and have a nice life, and we travel. We haven't been to Australia. We travel to the places that we have always gone to. We haven't recently talked about things. We used to always when we were holidaying. Susie, well, fine. That may be what you will do. But until you have got yourself back in the engagement, Charles, but what is the engagement? Would that, how do I do that? Susie, we have been talking about this for a while. Charles, yeah. Susie, and I'm really aware that you actually haven't gone out to lunch and talked with your partners. That's it. That it's all around your lawyers and negotiations without actually what you created together or your history together or what it means and what is in it for you. I think you have got scared and you removed yourself. I am sure that is the not the whole story, but there is some way in which partnership is meant to mean. Charles, or you dissolve them, I suppose. Susie, yeah, but isn't it worth discovering that first? Charles, I mean the complication. Well, it's not a complication, but as you know, we were at school together. We are all best men, godparents. That whole sort of mix of, our wives go on holidays together. Well, not all of them, two of them do. Susie, so the smoking's got a lot in it. It's not just got the Charles, 2 minutes, yeah. Susie, there's a chance now to think about the challenge and the unraveling, the reconnections, the possibility, rather than the get me out of there. Charles, yeah, which when I'm talking about it makes, I can see it's pathetic. Susie, well, I don't know if it is pathetic, but it's such a short changing of yourself. Charles, and it can kill you. Susie, the thing that you are really good at is the creating the story. Is the creating of the story. That's what you do in your job or did when you were Charles. Uh-huh. Susie, but you haven't been able to give yourself time to have the story about yourself, about what this challenge means to you and asks of you. Charles, that's harder. Susie, harder, yes, that's what you are doing here. But I think maybe instead of a smoke for 2 minutes, you should come a second time the week. Charles, Susie, or provoke a conversation with your partners and with Carolyn because it is all too compressed. Charles, but if you compress, then you don't have to think too much in a way. I mean, I don't even know what to do about Will. Okay, fine. Carolyn and I have it out. At some points there will be, but I don't know. I mean, what I really care, what he thinks about me. That's I have just been an entire hypocrite. Susie, no, you have disappointed your son. Charles, yeah, and you have disappointed yourself, and that's what needs confronting inside of you. How to go about talking or listening to him or talking with him in a way, another piece, which Charles, so do you think I should front foot it? Sorry, I know you're not meant to give me advice in that way, but I don't know how to proceed. Susie, well, what alternative do you have? You're not going to be able to hide behind a cigarette. Charles, for 2 minutes, twice a day. I've got to. It's really hard. This may be the way that I was brought up with kind of no communication. It's really, with no communication with my dad, I find it really hard to say sorry to, not just to my sons, and yet I love them. I love them most in the world. I don't know what that's about. Susie, well, you just said what you thought it was about. Is that you don't have a picture of a dad inside of you. Charles, yeah. Susie, that has that capacity, and you're wanting your dad to apologize for not being able to enjoy you and admire your accomplishments and relish what you have done. Moving that package onto what you need to do for your children is not quite accurate. Your children have their own relationship to you. You have been a much more present dad, but that's also disappoint. And I think that disappointment is what is on the table. Charles. Yeah, Susie. I think it would be useful to talk about this a bit more, but we have to come to the end for today. Charles. Okay, so I'll see you next Friday, yeah? Susie. Okay. Charles. I can't. I've got a lot to process. Just briefly, I can't promise that I am not going to smoke before next Friday. Susie. Am I the school teacher? Charles. Laughing. No, but that's. Thank you. Susie. Well, you could use your mouth to speak rather than to inhale. Charles. Yeah. Susie. Just a thought. Charles. Thank you. Susie. Okay, see you next week. Charles. Yeah, brilliant. Enjoy the sun. Charles came in concerned about his smoking and his son seeing him smoking. The session got diverted into the fact that he doesn't talk much to his wife or his partners, and I left the trouble he feels about talking to his son dangle. For a therapist, it is always about making choices about where you go. Sometimes they are unconscious and sometimes quite unbidden. I think my reluctance to talk about well reflects a sense I got from Charles that he was feeling quite adolescent and didn't yet know how to rise to the occasion. I have the new information about how unseen he has felt by his dad. He feels unfathered and jealous of what his father can give as a grandfather. He isn't sure how to father, and I feel an urgency to talk about the ways in which he hurts and how the bond he created with his school friends is now fracturing, adding to his rudderlessness. I'm also thinking about his contempt for the young men who want to acquire his company and wondering whether the stance he has taken also encodes his father's, real or perceived, relationship to him. What people might understand as audible rivalry when the son replaces the father, being retreated by the anguish of never feeling he has been accepted by his father. Charles was sent to boarding school from an early age after his mother died. There is a large literature about the damage of boarding school. Recently, our notions of parenting and attachment have meant that harsh separations, emotional and sexual repression, and abuse have thankfully to be revised. For Charles, who lost his mother and presumably had little space or support for his grief, or the confusing circumstances of leaving home so early, coping meant shutting himself down and learning to manage by not feeling too much. Now, many years on, as his boys are going into the world, his own emotional confusions have returned, offering him a chance to reknit his story, not through suppression but through greater self-knowledge. The knowledge doesn't let me off the hook. It makes me mindful of where we need to go to the next session and how to hold on to the thread. Carolyn, father, colleagues, will, and smoking. Interesting. That brings us to the end of this case. Next cases of Richard and Lewis, which we will cover in the next reading. If you have got any questions, any suggestions, any recommendations, or a feedback, you are welcome to write in the comment section of the video you're viewing or in the community section of YouTube channel. Bye bye for now. Keep reading. And if you have not subscribed yet, do subscribe. Bye.